Good Sunday morning. I'm Paul Lisnick. Welcome to WGN-TV Political Report. We begin this morning on Capitol Hill. Members of Congress home in their districts this week, but when they return later this month, the clock starts ticking on final budget negotiations that will help President Donald Trump enact his domestic agenda. Before they left Capitol Hill, Republican members of the House approved a budget framework. It includes funding for the Trump administration's immigration crackdown, extends Trump's tax cuts, first enacted back in 2017. Republicans in charge pushing for at least $1.5 trillion in spending cuts. Democrats don't have the votes to stop the plan from moving forward, but they are warning about the impact potential cuts will have on everyday Americans. And in Chicago last week, former President Joe Biden, he decried cuts that have already been made at the Social Security Administration, including thousands of jobs.
And Social Security is more than a government program. It's a sacred promise. We made it a sacred promise. 73 million Americans receive Social Security. From their first paycheck to their entire life, they pay into Social Security. And in return, they count on Social Security to be for them when they're going to need it.
Congresswoman Lauren Underwood represents Illinois' 14th district. She joins me this morning to talk more about what is next. Congresswoman, good to see you. It's been a while.
Hi, Paul. It's good to be with you.
So you all are back in your districts. A lot of people are having town halls. We see a lot in the news about very angry constituents at these town halls on both sides of the aisle. What are you hearing from your constituents as far as issues they're concerned about?
Well, when we had our town hall meeting in Joliet, we had 1,800 RSVPs, 650 people showed up, and it was so constructive. People have been hearing in the news information about Social Security cuts, but they didn't know how it was going to impact them. They've been hearing about changes to Medicare and didn't know how it was going to be impacting them. They've been hearing about slashing Medicaid, and they're like, what about my health care? And so it was an opportunity for us to come together and really just talk in terms of concrete specifics about how the actions of Donald Trump and his administration were going to hurt families in the 14th district.
So, as I said, Republicans passed this framework for a budget, not the budget itself. That has to be negotiated. But are there more tax cuts in the wings? I say that because Republicans say all we're trying to do is extend the tax cuts we passed in the past. So we're not making things any more difficult. Is that the case?
Well, what we've seen from the Republicans in the House is that they're planning to cut $880 billion from the Medicaid program, which covers hundreds of thousands of Illinois kids, seniors, and working adults in order to pay for a larger tax cut for the billionaires that were in the front row of Trump's inauguration and the wealthy corporations. Those are the people who stand to benefit from these so-called tax cuts.
Well, let me just follow up on that because, look, when Republicans are asked about that, they say this is a Democratic talking point, that we're not touching Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid. This is just a lie. Democrats, of course, say what you just said, which is $880 billion in cuts to Medicaid coming. Somebody's not telling the truth.
Well, they're not telling the truth. There's nothing else for them to cut at that committee level if they don't try to gut Medicaid. It is simple facts. And so they are trying to hide the ball and repackage something that's really ugly and devastating and trying to force feed the American people. And I think that families across Illinois' 14th district, families across Illinois in general, are smart enough to understand when they're being lied to.
Democrats essentially have kind of two things left before the 2026 elections. There's this budget, and then there is the debt ceiling limit. I mean, that's really the leverage left for Democrats. You have the president and what he calls one big beautiful bill, which is now parroted by Republicans. They've got it all in this. This framework actually calls for a raising of the debt ceiling. My question is, the Democrats don't have the votes to stop it. Is there any leverage if this thing passes? What do Democrats do?
You know, Paul, the Republicans don't have the votes to pass what you just described, a big, beautiful bill and a debt limit increase. They don't have the votes for that, period. Not in the House. It does not exist. That is the leverage point. They have to negotiate with us. The other opportunity, as you know, is that we're in the middle of a continuing resolution in our government funding. That funding expires September 30th, and then there will have to be a bipartisan negotiation at that time as well. So I think that there's plenty of points of leverage. We've said all along that we are eager to work with our colleagues across the aisle to lower costs for hardworking American families. They have been the one who've chosen to go it alone. Donald Trump and House Republicans have chosen to go it alone. And it's families, it's farmers, it's small business owners here in the 14th who suffered as a result.
We're seeing cuts made to education, healthcare. You've referenced some of that, federal cuts, but they come and hit us at the state level. I wanted to get your reaction to that. But at the same time, what I don't understand is it is Congress that controls the purse strings. As somebody who teaches constitutional law, the president doesn't have the power to do the cutting he's doing. Congress isn't saying a word about it. So even for Americans who agree with the president, they may agree with him. But why is Congress seceding this power to the executive branch? Because once you give it up, tough to get it back.
You know, Paul, I've been so disgusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune. You know, the founders, our great founders of this country, never envisioned that the Speaker and the Majority Leader would want the president to be a king, that they would want that to happen. And so they have completely yielded to Donald Trump. Listen, the legislative branch does have tools for an executive who has overreached. Those tools include things like oversight and the ability to issue subpoenas. Those tools include things like impeachment. Those tools include procedural things like discharge petitions that people in the minority party, like House Democrats are right now, can use to force a floor vote. But the Speaker and the Majority Leader have taken those tools off the table in complete deference to Donald Trump. And that is how we find ourselves in the middle of this constitutional crisis. We see Donald Trump openly defying the Supreme Court, and it's a big problem. We have separation of powers, 3 co-equal branches of government, but in order for it to work, the legislative branch has to be operating at full strength. And right now we are being prevented from doing so because of this complete and total yielding that we see from Speaker Mike Johnson.
Well, let me give you a way this plays out. You were a co-sponsor of the Social Security Fairness Act signed by President Biden. The goal is increasing retirement benefits. But here's the thing. One way for Republicans who say they won't touch Social Security to touch Social Security is to close buildings, shut down phone systems, get rid of staff. So your bill that you co-sponsored maybe remains the law, but what good is money when there's nobody to do anything with it to serve people? Are you hearing about that in your district?
People are so deeply concerned. We have a Social Security field office here in Joliet. People are worried about this tremendous community resource being taken away from us. They're hearing in the news that the Social Security Administration is no longer going to be responsive to constituent phone calls. You know, they're seeing these announcements from Donald Trump and his administration that they're not going to be putting out simple press releases, that people who don't even have Twitter accounts are going to have to figure out how to navigate this social media platform to get an update on what's going on with their earned benefits, their Social Security. It is outrageous, Paul, how they are coming for our economic security and retirement security in this country. And that's what I was saying earlier. The American people understand when they're being lied to. And I believe that Donald Trump got elected because he promised people he'd work on lowering costs. Well, where's that?
Yeah.
He promised people he wouldn't touch Social Security and Medicare. Well, what's happening? We see the cuts right before our eyes.
I hear you. With just a minute left, you introduced a bicameral resolution to make April 11 to 17 Black Maternal Health Week, policies addressing Black maternal health, obviously to deal with related issues. Here's the thing. You see DEI being cut everywhere in every possible way. What hope does that kind of bill have when DEI is being pulled out of the government everywhere?
What we know is America's Black maternal health crisis, our maternal health crisis in general, is getting worse as a result of the pandemic, the Dobbs decision, and what will be truly devastating is these Medicaid cuts. And so moms are continuing to die in all zip codes across our country. Our maternal death rates are getting worse, not better. And this resolution was introduced to just put some focus on what's happening to American families.
Very quickly, my last question. We're all waiting to hear what Senator Durbin's going to say, whether he'll seek another term. If he chooses not to and opts to retire, are you looking at that seat?
I love Senator Durbin. He has done such a tremendous job for us here in Illinois, and I understand he'll be making an announcement soon, and I'm really eager to hear what he has to say.
That wasn't a no, fair?
Come on, Paul. I'm going to be listening. I know you will be too.
Oh, we're going to be listening. Congresswoman Lauren Underwood of the 14th District, thank you for your time. Have a good Sunday. We'll talk to you again soon on the other side of Durbin's announcement. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to take our first break. Coming up next on WGN TV Political Report, we turn to City Hall. Council's newest member, Alderman Anthony Quezada, is in the WGN studios. And later, Democrats in charge at the State House try to hash out a budget plan that doesn't include new taxes. What a top House leader is saying. Don't go anywhere.